You've got to shoot this bit, Margaret. You've got to shoot it.
So, hi, I'm Dom Killinger. I'm publisher at In the Snow Mag.
And I am Rob Stewart. Well, that's all I'm going to say. I mean, Tom Cruise doesn't say, hi, I'm Tom Cruise, Hollywood actor, does he? It's just Tom Cruise.
Fair play to you, Rob. I think you're punching above your weight there, Rob. Big Tom Cruise impersonator.
All right. Okay, Rob Stewart, gear editor at In the Snow magazine, co-host the Whiteout podcast, and PR director of Ski Prep. See, that sounds quite impressive, doesn't it? Really. So I should have just stuck to Rob Stewart. I think that would be more modest of me.
Yeah, and so welcome this week to the Whiteout podcast.
Yeah, where we talk all things ski, like where's the best to ski right now, gear to be seen with, and of course, we are your ultimate destination travel agent right in your ears. Or on your smart speaker, speaker, of course.
Exactly, or your smart speaker, Rob. So, well, over this season, we'll also be getting in special guests that join us for our Dream Ski Day chat, where we'll uncover all those questions you were asking last season, like how do I get into working a season, or how old do my kids need to be before I ski, or even how to be a ski photographer, the best jobs in the mountains, and many more questions to ask. So, Rob, without further ado, I bet you're getting pretty itchy feet now we're that far away from the season. It's not far, is it? What's on your radar so far?
Yeah, I'm glad you said feet. Yeah, definitely. I mean, summer is great. And years ago, actually, I did 6 back-to-back winters without seeing a summer. And I can tell you what, you get bored of the cold. I'm really looking forward to winter now. And it feels like we're well on the way. What are your plans this season, Dom?
Well, you know what? I've got absolutely nothing booked yet, but I am loosely considering a pre-Christmas skid just to show you can still get some good skiing in before Christmas. So possibly Les Deux Alpes, maybe considering that. It's got me excited talking about the place last season on the podcast. They've got that new lift that's gone in, which is super exciting. And I'll probably do a stateside trip because I always love getting over there. And yeah, maybe head over to some peaks again because that was so tempting last year and it was so lovely. I don't like going back to somewhere twice, but really it was definitely a tempter. And I really do fancy getting over to Val d'Isère. It's always one of my favourites and I haven't been there for a few years. So yeah, what about you? What have you got?
Well, now you're showing off now, Dom, aren't you, basically? Well, actually, I'm heading off to Switzerland in about a week's time, but it's a bit of an unusual one. It's not a ski trip. I am dragging a group of women's football journalists up to the top of the Jungfrau to experience a women's football game on the glacier to kick off the women's Euro football tournament that's hosted in Switzerland in 2025 next summer. I mean, I'm quite excited about it. I don't know a lot about football. I've got to be honest. I'm not an expert, but this is going to be a bit of fun. So that's my first trip to the mountains. But yeah, I am also potentially off to Austria to test the new Carve launch. They're launching some new tech.
They are.
Straight off to Teen. Ski Club Great Britain are kicking off there very early December. Then I'm also in Crans-Montana pre-Christmas as well. January looks pretty packed. I'm back to the Jungfrau region again. I'm going to Leger. I'm going to the ski test at Le Clusaz, and apparently I'm going to Turkey to try skiing there, which I've never been to. So that looks really interesting. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, I might get to Japan this season. It's never happened for me, and this is looking quite positive at the moment. I'd love to get to North America, but let's see. I mean, realistically, it might not happen. But
that's an impressive roll call, Rob. I think that's enough for this week's podcast. It's been great talking to you. Thank you very much for joining us. I've got to say that's quite a lifestyle.
Well, I suppose so. I mean, it is our job, right? Apart from, my family don't particularly appreciate it when I'm away so long in the winter. But anyway, that's the way it is. That's our job.
Someone's got to do it.
Someone's got to do it.
It's got to do it.
We do have a few things that are coming up before the season really kicks off. Perhaps we can talk about some of those major events and what we will be up to on the podcast over the next few months.
Yeah, for sure. So, next big thing is the snow shows that are happening. We've got the Northern Snow Show in Manchester at Chill Factory on Saturday and Sunday, 5th and 6th of October. That's a new event over the 2 days where there's a few exhibitors there, some tour operators and some brands, but also demos on the slopes and the chance to ski yourself, which is great because obviously they got the real snow there. Are you going to be heading up to that?
Definitely considering it. I mean, obviously for anyone in that set in the area, in the Northwest, fantastic that there's an event on like this. Some great brands there, lots going on, some après ski sessions too. It does sound a lot of fun and pretty lively. I might make a weekend of it with the family, actually.
Yeah, I might pop up there and have a look at the show. I mean, want to show it support, want to make sure that it's doing what it needs to do, and that's attracting more people into skiing and making it more accessible.
Definitely.
So, yeah, definitely.
It's good news.
Yeah. And then, of course, there's the London Snow Show at XL on Saturday and Sunday, the 19th and 20th of October. That's a big event. Hundreds of exhibitors and stands and lots going on there. They've got great speakers, including Bodie Miller and Dave Riding, the likes of Crystal Holidays in Colorado and Sky Alps Ski Club, charities like Snow Camp. I mean, there's loads of things there. And obviously in the Snow magazine, I mean, the biggest exhibitor. What about you, Rob?
Yes, absolutely. yeah. I mean, I'll be there. It's a must-attend event for me. Always has been. Having London Ski Show is, I think, super important for the industry and for skiers. I mean, last year, it was the first one at XL, and I think in general it was well received. I think if you're looking for information, for kit, to book something, to listen to a great lineup of speakers, it's definitely worth a visit.
Yeah.
This particular show is not a high entry cost. And these days, Elizabeth Line, if you're out on the west of London, it makes things a lot easier. It sounds like I'm kind of working for the snow show. I'm not. I just think it's great that we have an event like this for a skier. Then kind of like, why would you not go if you could? That's kind of my attitude to it.
Totally agree. We don't need to work for them to promote it. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a great show. We want people to go. It's an event that everybody needs to get to. So, it's different to the old Battersea venue, that's for sure. It had more of a sort of party feel, but then it was a much higher ticket price and the focus was on live shows and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, XL, great place, loads of food and drink there, and that's easy to get to for most,
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I did enjoy the Battersea show, and I know we both did. It was a great event, but the 2-day event at XL, I don't personally think it creates quite the same atmosphere in the same way, but it is actually very focused on providing visitors with like everything that you need, right?
Yep.
Booking holidays by kit, it's kind of like, an event, if you know what I mean. It's kind of like, I mean, I would like to see a bit more of a social kind of aspect to it, place to meet, have a drink and all that, but maybe that's just me. It's just me.
Well, we gave away masses of magazines last year, and there's the show guide that we give away at the front gates when people arrive. So get people down there, buy kit and book their holidays, talk about holidays. So what else is happening then, Rob? What else have we got in the calendar?
Well, if we look ahead to January, we've got the SIGB ski test once again in La Clusaz. It's the chance to check out all of the following winter's new skis. A lot of fun, as always. Well organised, well attended by journalists and retailers. They really know their stuff, and it's just a good place to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And check out In the Snow Mag on YouTube to see all this season's ski tests, because we did a load last winter and we've got next winter to come as well. So yeah, all excitement. So plenty of events taking place across the Alps as well this season. Music and comedy festivals. There's loads going on. We'll be looking at events in more detail in the following podcasts. And of course, we'll list them off as they come up. But I know you're heading to that comedy festival in Leger as well. I had one of their comedians at one of our events recently, which was really good fun. So that looks pretty cool.
Tom Horton, very funny, funny guy. Check him out. Good ski jokes as well.
Yeah.
I'll be there at the comedy festival. It is good fun. It's nice to have like that kind of focus on a ski trip as well. That's taking place in January. Yeah, we'll be bringing our listeners the usual roundup of news, looking at where the best snow is right now, of course, covering our gear section and what's new. And we're also going to bring on some guests too. What about that, Dom?
Yeah, definitely. To talk
we're
about
going to have
ski day. Yeah. I know. Yeah, exactly. Can you imagine? So
scary.
Three's a crowd sometimes, Rob. You know what it's like. But yeah, absolutely. To that change to our snow report, because we really want to highlight where's best to ski right now. So where's the best snow, and to be highlighting resort destinations in a slightly different way too this season. And we want to have a bit of fun with our guests. So they will be the sort of people that we can have some great stories to tell about, some anecdotes about skiing and the experiences over the years, whilst at the same time giving our listeners answers to some of their key questions. So yeah, that should be good fun as well. And hearing about what their perfect ski day looks like as well. So yeah, it should be good. What about news, Rob? Well, we got some news going on. Has there been any news in the ski industry yet?
Well, funnily enough, yes, there has been. There's a lot going on over the summer, and it seems to be really ramping up right now as well. It's an interesting time, I think, for the industry, and there is a lot going on.
Yep, well, it's worth definitely mentioning the recent snowfall that's hit the Alps, which is pretty cool and significant in some parts as well, especially in Austria, with up to a couple of meters falling, and as low down to resort level places such as Obertown, for example. Absolutely amazing. But basically stretching from Avoriaz through to Zermatt across Austria and as far as Kranjska in Gora in Slovenia. We've seen photos of people with snow, very, very good snow. So high on the mountains and even powder skiing. So we know some of that is going to melt before the winter, but the glaciers will definitely should hold a lot of snow this, already for the winter. So it's looking good start.
Yeah, you know what? I was just listening back to a couple of our podcasts over the summer, and And weirdly enough, the first podcast of the summer, we were also talking about very, very late summer snow on the mountains as well.
Yeah.
Up to 2 meters in the summer at the beginning of the summer. So they've had these snowfalls at the beginning of summer and at the end of summer.
Amazing.
Which is pretty crazy. I mean, I would say it's going to be a decent autumn season on the glaciers with all of that snowfall in the spring and now as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Areas that are actually open: Sasfe, Zermatt, and Passo Stelvio in Italy, of course. Hintertux probably looking to open soon. I think they decided not to open originally, but I think with this new snow, I'm sure they could. Anyway, we could talk about that for hours, but I don't know if you've watched Emily in Paris on Netflix, Dom.
Not yet.
No, I haven't either, but I might be tempted now because episode 2 of season 4 features the resort of Megève, where presumably Emily buggers off from Paris and ends up there in Megève.
Yeah, apparently during those 3 days of filming, the schedule was very well planned. 1 day filming on the slopes, 1 day in a chalet, and another in the village. So, you can imagine what that was like. It was probably very, very busy. But the film crew was made up of more than 120 people, they reckon, local shopkeepers and hoteliers, restaurateurs. And can you imagine what was going on? Must have been absolutely packed out and a lot of fun, I would think.
Yeah. Lily Collins, who plays Emily, had a double for the ski scenes.
Oh, wow.
Apparently, there were 4 doubles on standby for Emily. Strange.
Should have been renamed Emily's in Megève then.
Very good. Well, I mean, how you even find a woman that looks like Lily Collins, is beyond me. But anyway, let alone 4.
Yeah.
Okay, just to finish that off, Four Seasons Hotel, the Four Seasons in Megève, has launched an Emily in Paris holiday offer this season.
Obviously.
Yes. We can all be, well, in my case, Dom, in Megève.
Yeah,
which I quite fancy the idea of. Frankly, could be Rob Megève, Dom in Megève.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go. Right now, on to the next story. This is a brilliant story. That attempt at a bad joke will soon come clear. I'm quite familiar with the annual cheese rolling contest in the UK, having been a fairly local resident in Gloucestershire for many years. Famous cheese rolling hill.
The old cheese rolling.
Drive past that quite often, that hill, and it looks like a black ski run going through a forest. If you know the M5, you're driving down, but just past south of Cheltenham, and you look to the left, there is that run. And if it had lots of snow in the winter, it would be just like this perfect black run coming down. Anyway, going off on a tangent. So
going off piste.
Yes. The Kiwis down in New Zealand, of course, have imported this bonkers event, the ski resort of Broken River, the ski field of Broken River, I should probably say.
Yep.
It's sponsored by Barry's Bay Cheese as well. I mean, most of those Gloucestershire cheese rollers were Kiwis or Aussies anyway, to be honest. So it was only a matter of time before they carried on the tradition on the other side of the world.
Yeah.
They love all this stuff in NZ. I remember being thrown down a mountain in a plastic bull once, which caught on here for a while as well.
The story is just too gold to be true, Rob. Oh my God.
Cheesy
like
jokes.
Christmas cracker time.
Very good, Tom.
So what else we got? We've got gear. So this is a nice little story into our gear section. So it's the US, so OOSC if you don't know them. US Clothing. They're a very cool British ski and outdoor wear brand. In fact, they're very local to me. A couple of lads are based in Berkhamsted. They have been honoured with the prestigious King's Award for Enterprise. So massive accolade recognising incredible work and incredible achievements that they've put in both international trade and sustainable development. So they started in 2015. We've watched them grow. They've rapidly grown in popularity. I think they had shops in Folly Do stores as well, in the Folly Do clubs or whatever you want to call them on Piste, and which was a fantastic launch place for them. So they had their big, bold, fabulous 80s fashion and contemporary ski wear in these stores, and I think it's really taken off. Really unique style, massive commitments to the whole sustainability. They've had a lot of attention. Sales in over 110 countries. I mean, that is pretty impressive for basically a couple of lads out of Berkhamsted, Hertfordshire. So the King's Award for Enterprise, handed out by King Charles, represents the highest level of recognition for British business, and US Clothing's achievement, it really does show their commitment to absolute excellence, innovation and sustainability. So I know these two guys, I know you do too. When you meet them, you think they're just a couple of party lads, but these two blokes are definitely not stupid. So you've got Nick Marsden, who made a comment here, and he said, so look, winning the King's Award is an incredible privilege. It's a testament to our team's hard work, dedication and vision to showcase USK to a global audience. And yeah, massive congrats to Nick and the USK team there.
Yeah, I mean, I reckon those guys would get on quite well with King Charles. I could see them dragging him off to a party or two.
Yeah.
What do you reckon?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think King Charles would get into a lot of trouble if he hung out with Nick and Aaron of USK for sure. I think any of us would probably get into trouble if we hung out with those two too much.
That's true.
So
anyway, moving on. Yes.
What have we got next?
Well, Dom, it is time for our special resort focus for this week. And I'm going to admit, actually, that I've never been here. And you could say that's first world problems. But at the end of the day, this is one of the most iconic ski destinations on the planet. And it is definitely on my must visit list, considering what I do for a living. It's the sort of place where you think, yes, I need to go and check that place out. That's for sure. But I guess, I know you've been there, and I guess that, goes for any skier, actually.
Yeah, absolutely, Rob. Yeah, this week we are going to be talking about Whistler in British Columbia. It's our resort of the week. It's how we ended last season and how it's beginning this season in this special episode of the White Owl podcast, where we're starting off the season. It's a totally iconic destination. And I'm pleased to say that I have been there, and I've been there a few times, and I would go back any day that anybody wanted to invite me, for sure.
Well, I mean, you can tell us more then. But to start with, I can say that I have skied in British Columbia, did have an incredible time traveling around that sort of more eastern side of the region. The people are great. The wilderness is incredible. And it's some of the best ski terrain that I've ever encountered. And they get a ton of snow.
Yeah.
So,
they do get a ton of snow.
Cool.
And you could say that about Whistler too. Obviously, it's located on the western side of British Columbia. But the great thing is it's just a couple of hours driving time from Vancouver Airport on the incredible Sea to Sky Highway, which honestly, it's an experience in itself. If you can make sure you do it in the daytime, it is well worth it. It's one of the most spectacular drives in the world, and a fantastic welcome to British Columbia. As you drive up, the views are something spectacular. The last time I drove up there, it was actually lashing with rain, which obviously at the time I was thinking this is a real shame that it's raining, but at the same time I was thinking I know exactly what that means up the hill, which was in April of this year. But yeah, that drive up, you can often see eagles flying. You see incredible views of the mountains and the sea there. It's just a phenomenal drive up. So yeah, well worth trying to capture that during the daytime for sure.
I mean, I've heard about that drive many times, and I know you've told me about it personally as well. And it's just, it's got to be special because you talk about the drive to the ski resort. Like, it's like, it's just like you get really excited about the drive to the ski resort. It's just like, yeah, we've driven to Millie ski resorts. Yeah. You're really excited about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I get asked a lot where I have skied. And when I speak to people that know Whistler pretty well, maybe they've done a season there, they've been there many times. I kind of ask, what is all the fuss about? And the answer I seem to get is that basically it's the whole package. You've got this huge ski area, you've got this great lift system, you do get stacks of snow, there's a very cool town, it's got a great vibe, tons of restaurants and bars, very lively and international. And honestly, I really mean this, I've never heard anyone say, nah, that place is not for me.
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, it is all of those things. It is a fantastic ski area. It is a phenomenal lift system. You do get bags of snow. The town is great. It's great for everybody. I mean, I would say the place is genuinely suitable for any level of skier and snowboarder, which is obviously a fantastic start. And it doesn't mean the beginners are always stuck at the base of the mountain either. They can get up the hill and ski, on really nice progressive sort of training piece, if you like. Everyone talks about this terrain and the powder and the epic descents, but where it really excels is the fact that beginners and intermediates, 25% of the terrain is dedicated to beginners. And that's around 40 miles of trails, which is significant,
Yeah.
Over half is dedicated to intermediates and about 25% to experts. So when you have this image of sort of being in the middle of extreme terrain, yeah, it's all there if you want it. But the key thing for me is don't be scared off by it, because it's definitely a place for all kinds of skiers. So definitely don't be put off by it. It's not just for people coming in from the Free Ride World Tour.
And of course, there's two mountains there as well, Whistler and Whistler and Blackcomb, famously connected by the peak-to-peak gondola that opened in 2008.
Yeah.
Seems like, gosh, I remember news about that.
Yeah.
It's 2008.
Yeah.
But it's still the longest and the highest lift of its kind in the world. Do those two mountains offer a different experience for skiers?
That's a good question
to you.
Well, the first question is, Rob, that it's called Blackcomb, not Blackcomb, so that's cool.
Okay, right.
The peak-to-peak gondola, I was there for the opening. It is still phenomenal. All this time later, I can't believe that 16, 17 years since that opened, I was there for the opening, and it is still absolutely fantastic. It is still an incredible journey across on that peak-to-peak gondola. In terms of the question, do the two mountains offer a different experience? Generally speaking, Whistler is more suited to beginners in general and intermediates, and Blackcomb more to the experts. But that's not 100%, but that's just the general feel. Black is higher, has a fantastic snow record, but then again, Whistler Mountain has some lovely open bowls higher up, which are a lot of fun on a powder day. And whichever side you are, you always want to get across the other side. It always looks like they're having more fun. It's a bit like the grass is greener on the other side of the fence.
Oh, really?
And of course, it's always an excuse to get on that peak-to-peak gondola. It's just such a worthwhile ride.
Yeah. Okay. What about down in town then? Because again, I hear about this pretty buzzing place that is also laid back, but also very slick, very cosmopolitan, kind of in its way.
Yeah.
The town itself.
Yeah, it definitely has it all in regards to ski. When you look at ski resorts, this place has it all. It's all pedestrianised, so it's a huge pedestrianised centre, and they built it in a almost meandering like a river, but it's paths specifically to make you to wander around the restaurants and the shops and the bars. There's loads of them, loads of places to eat and drink, and loads of shops as well. They've got really nice après spots like the Garibaldi Lift Company, GLC as they call it, or Merlin's, which is a lot of fun at the bottom, which is a bit more laid back, and you can get big nachos and wear Mexican hats and all that sort of stuff. So there's a lot of fun going on there. Loads of food and dining options. There is literally every single sort of dining you could possibly want. There's anything from Araxi to get great pizza, Creek bread, and of course the Barefoot Bistro, which is top notch as well. Okay. There is everything you can think of, all in this pedestrianised area. So kids are running free. They're not worried about being hit by traffic. So yeah, really nice.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I've got to say that I like the Canadian craft beer experience too. And I have seen there's several breweries in Whistler. So probably worth going there for a pint of, I spotted Bear Paw Honey Lager. Yeah. I reckon that would be good.
Yeah, there is. Yeah. And you definitely get some good beers there. And as I say, loads of places to drink out. So it's, you get a huge choice of that kind of stuff. And it really adds another level to the whole quality of the experience of being in Whistler. And, if you want some of those real craft beers, it's superb for that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Sounds good. How are we going to get there, Dom? What do we do?
Well, I mean, I remember, funnily enough, this is a crazy story, is the fact that this was actually one of the first places I skied. I learned to ski in Morzine and a couple of other European resorts. And then very quickly, I went to Whistler. And it's amazing to think that actually all those years ago, which I can't remember how many, 20 odd years ago, it was with Ski Independence. It is an investment. And I was sitting there thinking, I want this to be absolutely spot on. This has to be great. So I wanted somebody to be holding my hand all the way, and I wanted to get the best experience. I was still fairly new to skiing, and I'd still do it the same way now because of the way you looked after. And Ski Independence still today still work with us, and that's who we're talking about today as well. They're an absolute specialist when it comes to Whistler. They know the place better than anyone, and they can provide that really personalised experience. People who have got serious knowledge. And of course, these places are changing all the time. New restaurants open, new bars open. They're a really passionate team. When you talk to them, it's a bit like talking to me about it. You just absolutely love it. You know the place, you love the place, and you want other people to experience the same thing. And that very first time I went there, it snowed every day for a fortnight. And I thought that's how all ski resorts were. I thought every resort you go to, it just snows all day, every day. So it was an immense experience, and being looked after by Ski Independence was a great experience as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I know Ski Independence and what they can do. It's not only before you book, it's the whole package, right? I mean, obviously getting that choice of accommodation, the sort of accommodation that's right for you, and all of those things. Yeah,
absolutely. Super important. I mean, they've got everything from 5-star hotels to superb apartments, all in great locations. So, getting the right accommodation is absolutely right. Some people don't want to be right in the town centre. Some people want to be a little bit out of the town centre and be able to walk in. Some people want to be right in the hub of it, and it's getting the right place,
Right. And then, just help with restaurants, the best ski schools, because that can be a bit of a minefield, the right lift passes for what you're looking for, because actually that is also, it's not always straightforward, actually.
No.
And I guess just the sort of in-depth knowledge of the place is worth a lot at the end of the day. I mean, like any tour operator can provide.
Yeah. And they got some great early booking offers. I mean, a £250 voucher to spend on food and drink for a limited time, £100 per person discounts, up to 40% off stays. The best offers they've got are up until the end of September, so just in time for this podcast coming out. So it makes a lot of sense to sort out lift passes early, which you can save up to 65% if you're booking that early. And of course, Ski Independence, they hold your hand the whole way on all of that. They know exactly, they've got their checklist. You don't even need to be thinking. You just need to be saying them, we're going. Where should we stay? This is what we're after. What else do we need? And they will organise it, which is fantastic.
Yeah, I did have a look at those early season offers as well, and they are genuine. Like you said, there's a voucher to be spent on food and drink locally. Like you said, I think it's a $250 voucher. The £100 per person discount and up to 40% off stays before the 30th of September. That was a genuine deal that they are putting together. So, that 65% saving or up to is it's literally there.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that is we have to say that is a genuine deal. We're not mucking around.
The other great thing is you want to book early on something like that because you want to have the time to look forward to it and be excited about going somewhere like that. It's not an everyday trip, and you start going and staying in the Fairmont or staying. The Fairmont Chateau is right at the bottom of the slope, which is a fantastic location. Or the Four Seasons, which is 2 or 3 minutes outside of town, and an incredible hotel. You stay in these sort of places. It's a build up to a holiday like that, and booking early and getting those discounts and having everything organized, but being excited about turning up to a place that is absolutely spectacular. It really is.
Yeah, I mean, there's a conversation to be had about booking times and booking early, and we do know how people can get caught out if they don't do that these days, especially these days. It's you won't get the choice of what you want, let alone the money off. And anyway, that we can go on about that for ages, but okay, I checked out their website. The best place to go and look at all of this, Whistler, the resort, all the information and the deals is at ski.com/Whistler. So check that out, ski-i.com/Whistler.
Yeah.
Ski Independence.
Yeah. Or Rob, do it the old fashioned way. You can ring them up and speak to one of their experts because once you've
about Whistler.
I know. Can you imagine?
Brilliant.
Not a bot, nothing to do with AI. We're talking about a real person who's been there, done it, they know the place. And it is great when you get to the other end. I'll just quickly read out their phone number because it is handy. 0131 243 8097. So that's 0131 243. They do have a bunch of experts on the end of the phone. And just hearing the passion of these people. And then when you get out there, you find there's like-minded people out there looking after you, and a lot of Brits out there working. So you get a lot of Brits out there working, and it's very, very nice being well looked after. In the hotels, boot fitters, and in the ski room, and around the hotels for service. The service levels out there are to behold. There's no shrugging shoulders in Whistler. Like if you want something, they will deliver it for you. And the advice on restaurants and everything else, more and more nowadays, I'm sure you find yourself, you go into these resorts, you're not sure where to eat. Pre-planning and knowing where you're going, even if you do just sort of shift the reservation, change it, it's great to have great recommendations that if you want a great steak or great sushi or a great pizza or great Italian or a great place for the kids, it's just fantastic to have that first-hand knowledge of someone that can sit there, hold your hand and say, listen, here's a bunch of your best options if you want to eat out. And knowing that's great recommendation. So can't recommend it highly enough. And definitely, Rob, you've got to get out to Whistler. Next time we have this conversation, you need to be leading this conversation.
I mean, I loved the food in Canada last time I was there. And I mean, you talked about sushi. I had some of the best sushi I've ever had in Canada. I mean, I've never been to Japan. So, I mean, obviously, but seriously, some of the best sushi. And that was that was a long way from the sea. And I guess Whistler is not so far from the sea.
Exactly.
So probably getting fresh seafood and all that kind of stuff up there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously
brilliant.
the other thing is twin it up with going to Vancouver. You know, Vancouver's an hour and a half, 2 hours down the road, as we just talked about. Don't just fly into Vancouver and just shoot up to Whistler. Shoot up to Whistler and have your great time, or go into Vancouver beforehand, because that is an incredible city, and it's well worth spending 3 or 4 days in Vancouver as well. And obviously they can organise that for you as well. So it's definitely worth looking at that.
It always makes those sort of lists that you see, Vancouver, doesn't it? Like best places in the world to live, ranked 1 to 2. You know, Vancouver's always at least in the top 5, probably the top 3, if not the number 1.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, with name other cities, but I mean, it does always make that cut. So yeah, got to be a good place to visit too.
It's got to be done. It's got to be done. So, Rob, that's it for this week's podcast. We've done a special edition because we are officially back on Friday, the 4th of October for our weekly Whiteout podcast. What do you think of that? I mean, is there going to be enough going on? Is there going to be enough snow? Is there going to be enough to talk about? A ski independent that's going to want to phone us up and say, do you want to go to Whistler? Rob, we've got to get you to Whistler. Imagine. Do you think we said their name enough that they're going to want to ring you up and say, Rob, you're coming to Whistler?
It's all in the plan, isn't it? The master plan.
I know. Mars bars as well, and Coca-Cola.
There's an endless stream of things to talk about when it comes to snow and skiing and snowboarding and winter sports. We are never lacking. You know, this is our 3rd season of the podcast now, and I don't ever think, I'm really scratching around for things to say this week.
No.
You know, it's not happened. And actually, I think at the moment, there's a lot to talk about. I think we're starting to see some infrastructure projects happening again. Yes.
And also this season, we'll also be looking at the best goggles for 2024-25, best helmets for 2024-25, and loads of other gear that we've got coming for this season. So we'll also have our gear sections as well as our new destination focuses and our interviews as often as we can get them in, whenever we can get anybody cool and fun in to talk about skiing. So that's it for this week. We're back on the 4th of October, which is the official launch of our next season's episodes. For now, Rob, keep looking out on the snow and enjoy it when you go out to where is it you're off to the football
Grindelwald,
Grindelwald,
the Jungfrau Joch.
Yeah.
You know, that amazing train journey through the Eiger Mountain, that train line that's over 100 years old. I would say that the train's a bit more modern than that, but the actual railway's been there for over 100 years. It's very special place.
Good stuff. Have a good time, Rob.
Thank you.
Safe
Cheers, Tom.
Bye-bye.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Mais non, talkie-walkie. I'm pretty sure it's called a walkie-talkie, mate.